Oh, gee, Funky Boxing is back. Post fight, David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. Benavidez gets the unanimous decision over Caleb Plant in a one-sided beatdown. And make no mistake about it, man, this was a complete beatdown of Caleb Plant by David Benavidez. Look, credit to both guys. They got in there, they settled the grudge match that they had for so many years, guys. And look, I'm not going to lie to you, man. When that bell was about to ring, that first bell, I had butterflies in my stomach. I could not believe that we were finally getting this fight. We had been talking about this fight for so many years, guys. At least 3 years we had been talking about it. Didn't think it was ever going to happen. And we finally get it, man. And I was super pumped. I was excited as hell before this fight. Right as soon as that first bell rang, I was like, man, I can't believe we're actually here. We're finally here. We're finally getting it. Yes, sir. DJ Mexicano de Tejas, Canelo versus Benavidez. That's the fight that needs to happen next. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Forget Bivol, man. If I'm Canelo, I say forget Bivol. Let's go Benavidez, man. It's the best fight that could be made at 168 pounds right now. And there's no doubt about it now, guys. Guys have said a lot of things about Benavidez in the past. And quite frankly, it's just a lot of it is agenda driven, because he's a PBC fighter. A lot of guys don't like the PBC, so they'll say anything against fighters that are associated with the PBC. I mean, look, you just got to put that aside sometimes, man, and realize that this kid is the goods and he's going to be a hell of a challenge for Canelo. A hell of a challenge for Canelo. Now, look, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I do agree with you, DJ Mexicano de Tejas. But let's talk about the fight. Beatdown. From round 3 on, in my opinion, after the third round, Plant was on survival mode, man. The holding was just absolutely ridiculous, man. Shalom to my brother right here, the boxing historian. Yes, Benavidez put a beat down on Plant tonight. But I need to say this, man. A complete miscarriage of justice by Kenny Bayless and the Nevada State Athletic Commission tonight to allow a fighter to hold that fucking much all night long. And look, I'm going to get a little angry here, guys, because you guys know, a lot of you guys know who've been following me for years. I've been saying this ever since the Vladimir Klitschko era of the heavyweights. I can't stand when fighters hold all fucking night. And it was a complete miscarriage of justice because Benavidez had Plant out on his feet in the 8th round. I believe it was the 8th round. And the man was allowed to hold and hold. Bayless steps in when Benavidez is actually working on the inside, landing punches. He wants to step in and break the action. He never even warned Plant one time about the holding. Not one time. The man was literally holding 3-4 times per minute in a 3-minute round. Awful. Kenny Bayless, need to sit your ass down. Retire right now. You have no business in a boxing ring refereeing a fight, officiating a fight. No business. That was probably the worst I've ever seen it. Unbelievable. A miscarriage of justice because Plant would have been knocked out. He would have been knocked out in that round because a normal ref would have warned him several rounds before that about the holding. Took a point. Then he has no choice but to fucking either use his defense, use his legs more, one or the other. But to do illegal tactics, survival tactics for 9 rounds of the fight is absolutely pathetic on Kenny Bayless. And I've met Bayless before at fights here in Northern California. Nice guy. but he has definitely seen better days, and he needs to sit his ass down. Benavidez was about to stop Plant in that round, but again, the survival tactics. Then he goes to the doctor. Let's check Plant's cut. Gives him more time to recover in that same round. And then the very next round, what happens? Plant lands a low fucking blow. I think that was intentional, guys. I do. I think that was intentional by Plant to get more time to recover. It was disgusting what Kenny Bayless did in there tonight. Disgusting, guys. And I'm telling you, we have to pound this home. All of us that create content. Holding is not good defense. It's literally against the fucking rules. Clinching and holding are two different things, right? When I talked to Ray Corona, he explained it. And he had Jack Reese on his channel. Interviewed Jack Reese, and he explained it as well. Guys are going to clinch on the inside, hold the hands and the arms. He said, I'll let them work in there if they're punching. And that's fine. But to wrap up your opponent's body in his head, put him in a headlock, is illegal. Illegal. I don't give a fuck who does it. And Plant was just moving and then lunging in, holding. Maybe throw a jab and then hold. Just awful. I can't stand watching it, guys. If I want to watch fucking wrestling, I'll watch the UFC. And that's exactly why I don't watch the UFC. Because I don't like wrestling. I don't like watching wrestling. It's boring. I respect it. I know that those guys train hard to do what they do, but it's just not pleasing to the eye, at least mine. And if I want to watch fucking wrestling, I'll watch it. But Kenny Bayless, you should be ashamed of your performance tonight. You should apologize to all the fans because you robbed us of a good knockout that was about to happen by allowing this guy to hold. This is survival tactics, guys. This is not good defense. And they were trying to play it off early, the commentators. Oh, Plant's doing it. You know, he's doing a good job of stifling Benavidez's offense by holding. First off, again, it's illegal. And then it got to the point where even they had to say something. Al Bernstein just like, I have no words at this point. It was disgusting, guys. Absolutely disgusting. But Plant, like I said in my prediction, he folded late. The pressure got to him. And again, the good combination by Benavidez, lead right hand, followed by the left hook, and even doubled up with the left hook, was money. And it was getting to Plant. But just awful, man. Look, I'm glad that Benavidez won the fight because he deserved it. He won 9 rounds on my card. I think the most you could give Plant is 4. I'm fine with a 8 rounds to 4 card. But I can't stand it, man. It ruins the fucking fight to see that happen over and over and over and over again, man. Anybody wants to call in, the phone lines are open. We could talk about any of the fights tonight. I'm going to go back up, read some comments, guys. Let's get it. Los Tres Chingones, man. One of my favorite channels here. Way too much to cover in boxing. Yeah, absolutely. I haven't even watched the top rank card yet. I'll be watching that as soon as we're done here. Marion Brown's way too much holding. He should have lost a point. He could have been disqualified, to be quite honest with you. Miguel Mondragon says Bayless is the worst. Man, he was an abomination tonight. A complete miscarriage of justice. And I agree with you, Jay Rodriguez. Hard to watch. Hard to watch. Yeah, it was good in spots, man, but Plant ruined it with all the holding. Plant fucking ruined it, man. Give me a second, guys. We're getting a phone call. Got my boy, the box in the store in 206. What's up, brother?
Shalom, what's good with it, man?
I'm good, man. How are you? Peace to you, brother.
Man, I'm doing good, man. And I had a nice day, and also had a nice time watching these fights. In particular, this card, bro.
Good card, yeah.
I think this. I'm gonna say this. This was worth the money.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I got my money's worth tonight on the card. I mean, I wish that they would have gotten the El Rayo decision right, but
Oh man, bro.
that was bad. Yeah, that was bad.
Oh man, let's start there. And look, man, I'm a root for my Seattle guys, man. You know, why do they rob Seattle all the time in sports, bro? Why? Why,
Oh
man?
man, it's awful, man. And you know what? I wish you guys still had a basketball team, man. I miss playing the
Ah,
Sonics, man. Great atmosphere you guys used to have up there in that key arena, man.
oh man, yeah. Oh man, in the '90s, you couldn't, bro. This was the Seattle Supersonic town, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
Gary Payton Camp, and then you even had the Ray Allen, Rashard Lewis era. Those were fun times, and even prior to that with Xavier McDaniel and all them guys back in the '80s and shit.
Yep.
Sad that they went, but man, look, I'm gonna say this right. Colbert, you could see you want to give him 5 rounds. That's the most he got. Even with 5 rounds, he did not win that fight, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he won 5 rounds, he did not win the fight. Why? Because of that knockdown. You cannot tell me that El Rayo did not win a lot of those rounds, especially just based off of damage and who was more effective, bro.
Yeah. The rounds that El Rayo won, he won them big because he was hurting Colbert multiple times, multiple rounds. I feel like he kind of let the door open for some rounds to slip away, but still, like you said, he deserved to win fight. I had him winning 6 rounds to 4 plus the knockdown. I don't see how they could have given him that. Yeah.
No, that's exactly the scorecard that should have been scored, honestly. Then if you add the knockdown, I mean, to me, Colbert should have been the one pressing the issue to get through, which he was. He did come around, but obviously those punches, I mean, the only thing El Rayo didn't do was put him away,
Yeah.
And don't get it twisted. I like Colbert too, but Colbert, bro, he's at a crossroads right now. I don't give a fuck if they gave no gift decision or not. He's at a crossroads because El Rayo can crack. Don't get it twisted, but 135 is full of guys that can crack.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, especially the mid-level, the top echelon guys. He's not gonna. I don't see, because I used to think that he was a poor man's Meldrick Taylor with them fast hands, but he don't have the durability of a Meldrick Taylor, bro. Because those punches, he did not take those punches well at all, and I don't see him surviving that long at 135. El Rayo, on the other hand, got robbed. This should have been a win for him. He did everything he could except knock the dude out. I mean, at this point, I mean, it's a loss in your record, but everybody knows that you should have won. So I believe that he needs to just not take it that hard and just get back in the gym and do what he needed to do.
Yeah.
Just get back in the ring, do what he needed to do, and take care of business.
I honestly feel like Colbert, I agree with you on a lot of points you made about it. I think he is very talented. You could see, the athleticism, the speed. And look, he recovered. We got to give him that credit because that was a big left hook he got hit with in round 1. But I think the big problem with Colbert, in my opinion, is, and if you agree with me or not, you guys in the chat, I think he just doesn't take things serious. Like, he looked like he overlooked Hector Luis Garcia in his last fight, and he got beat the hell up in that fight. Here, he did a little bit better over 10 rounds. Like I said, he showed some resiliency, showed a little bit of heart, but still in there playing around and just looked still to me like he was unprepared. I mean, I don't understand when guys are fighting a natural southpaw and you want to turn southpaw against a natural southpaw. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Right. Stay orthodox, man. Like, that's your best chance to win the fight. And he was getting blasted with left hands when he was in the southpaw position. So really a lot of mental and stupid mistakes that Colbert makes. I don't know if it's, again, he underestimates his opponents, doesn't take things seriously, but he just doesn't look like he's mentally locked in when it comes to these fights, man.
It don't. And it's And he has flaws, man. He leaves himself open a lot. Yeah, the talent's there, but we've seen a lot of talented dudes that just end up,
Yeah.
not they end up becoming journeymen or mid class C-level guys, and I hate to project things on younger fighters, but it's like you could tell with this kid, man, that's probably where he's gonna be at,
Mm-hmm.
like an Emmanuel Augustus type of fighter, bro. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. And they definitely should run it back. I'll ask you in the chat, and you and everybody in the chat. Do you think that they should do an immediate rematch, or should they wait a little bit? I mean, I think they should definitely fight again because of the controversy. Um, but do you think it should be immediate, or should they take a fight or two in
Mm,
between and then do it?
I think if PBC wants to keep these guys and build them up, that's if PBC's around a whole nother year. Who knows where they're going to be at? But barring that, I would say get them in the ring with someone that they can beat, and then bring them back together. I mean, you can build this back up, and make some money off of this fight. There's controversy with it. You have two young stars, two young prospects still. They're still in the prospect stage. Get both of them guys in a quick win, and then have that fight be made maybe sometime, maybe this year or early next year, and have that rematch and do it that way. That's what I would do personally.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, there's some people saying they don't feel like they want to see a rematch. My man Round One here says if it doesn't happen right away, Colbert won't do it again. Maybe, yeah. Let's see. Fotex saying give David the fight he wants. Canelo. No, I agree. It's got to be Canelo next, man. No doubt
Oh
about it.
man, yeah.
Forget Bivol, man. Like I don't think Canelo can beat him. And again, this isn't. I don't know. People get mad when I say things like that, but this is not a knock against Canelo. Styles make fights, and his style is all wrong for Canelo. And if he just drags him down to 168, people are going to say he drained him, and he's going to be in a no-win situation. Might as well just fight the guy who's your mandatory in the WBC, which is David Benavidez. I think it's the best fight at 168. Who else is going to give Canelo a good challenge at 168 at this point? The only guy we can say is David Benavidez, But what did you think about Jesus Ramos and Spencer, man? I thought that was interesting. I felt that fight was going to be a lot closer than it was, but that was
I thought
lopsided.
so too.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be. Hey, here's the thing. I still have Ramos. I still have Ramos knocking him out. I just didn't think that Ramos was just going to outclass him like that. Spencer is one of those guys. He's athletic. He's fast. He's quick.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of these Chris Colbert type motherfuckers. He is one of these. I'm just going to call it what it is. He's one of those type of guys that try to look cute. But if you don't have no steam on the punches, or if someone doesn't respect you, all right, that's you can look cute against some weaker opponents, but guys that are, I'm just looking at Ramos's record. I mean, mind you, I've only seen maybe one fight of his, but I'm looking at his record and looking at Spencer's record. I'm like, you know what? Ramos about to steamroll this motherfucker.
It wasn't close. It was not a contest, man. And the corner said, "Hey, we love you too much. We're gonna save you from yourself." Yeah, it was getting really, really bad as rounds went on. Ramos started to land 3, 4, 5 punch combinations cleanly on Spencer. And look, I'm gonna be quite honest with you guys. I'm always honest with all you guys. Like, there's a part of me that just doesn't like Spencer because of his whole involvement with the Glovegate thing. I don't know if you remember that, but he was one of the guys that these Glovegate dudes went after. He goes like, "Oh, you heard he said about the Crunk Jib? He said they all cheat," and like, you just made yourself look stupid, man. And there was a part of me that was a little bit happy that he got beat up tonight.
Hey, you know what? Hey, man. Look. If you don't have nothing concrete, then don't make the
claims.
Don't say it, bro. I mean, look, certain guys hit hard for a reason, bro. I mean, when you see 19 wins and 15 knockouts, that 99.99999% of the time, that means that motherfucker can crack.
Yes, sir.
So,
yep.
You know, it is what it is.
And that's, you know what? That's really from a promotion. I've heard a lot of promoters say this from their perspective when building fighters. If you got a guy who can box, you want to keep him away from punchers as long as you can, because, you know, if you put him in against a good boxer, they have a chance to try to turn the fight around at some point. But a puncher can get your guy out of there and hurt him badly. And this was that point of Spencer's career where they had to say, let's see what the kid's got. We got him in there with a legit puncher. And yeah, it didn't end well for him, man. So he's going to have some work. Got to go back to the drawing board, hit the gym, and get some work done, man. But anything else you want to touch on, brother?
Yeah. So, I mean, well, we already know Benavidez and Plant. I mean, you know, Benavidez did his thing. Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez, that's the fight to make. Canelo needs to stop, avoiding this guy, man. Like, there's no money any other fight outside of a Benavidez fight. Nobody wants to see the shit again with Bivol except for the extreme Canelo Alvarez fans. I mean, honestly.
Yep.
I mean, any other fight it's not gonna happen. I mean, Better Beef is gonna destroy Canelo. All right.
Yeah.
David Morrell. I think David Morrell is gonna beat all these guys, but David Morrell has not built up a big and more extensive enough profile for it to make sense right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm saying that because I'm saying that believing that he will wholeheartedly knock out both Benavidez and Canelo, you know. But you know, yeah, get that fight made. No reason why it can't happen this year, Canelo, and get this shit going. It'd be big for boxing in all aspects. The other fights, I didn't see the Sinicia Estrada fight. And I didn't see Richard Comey fight. Did you see those fights?
No, man. I had to. I mean, there were so many cards on. I just said, you know what? I'm going to stick with one. And try to trust the rest.
Today.
Yeah, Okoli fought too. Yeah, I heard he didn't look good, but I don't know the results yet. But I heard he didn't look too good. A lot of fights I got to catch up on. But when you have fights like this, man, all over the place, like you just got to pick and choose. And I picked this one here because this was a fight that us fight fans have been wanting for a few years now. We finally got it, and I'm glad that it happened, man. And again, give credit to Plant for getting in there, and you know, he took a beating, man, but it would have been a lot worse if Kenny Bayless would have took a point or done something to stop him from doing all the fucking holding, man. You know how I am about the holding, bro. I mean, was it bad or what? Well,
okay. I'll say this, all right, about the holding. All right. Now, we understand that holding has always been used as a tactic for generations, but when you don't look at the old fighters, a lot of them were clinching, and they fought in the clinch.
Yes.
They fought in the pocket. There's a difference between fighting in the pocket and throwing punches while your hands free, right? And throwing punches with leverage versus guys like a Mayweather, like a Hopkins and Ward. You know, guys applaud that shit, but usually when guys do that shit, that's because that guy in particular is lacking a particular tactic. Is it lacking a particular skill set?
Yes.
To you know what I'm saying? They're lacking a skill set that's a deficiency, but it's a tactic, not necessarily a skill. It's a tactic. It's a tactical advantage. It doesn't have to necessarily be skill. It's being crafty. You know what I'm saying? Doing that, I mean, if you can get away, I mean, look, the boxing's a dirty game. If you step on a guy, get away with elbows, pull people's head down. You got to do whatever you got to do to win. But when you excessively do something where you're hugging and holding all the time, it's to the discretion of the referee where they don't give a point deduction, but you'll warn cats that's another thing too. Warning cats for talking shit. I heard that in the Colbert and Ryle fight.
Yeah.
You fucking referee, fuck you. If that was me, I'd be like, man, fuck you. I mean, because we're in a fight.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. I mean, have you watched the other sports? I mean, there's constant trash talk. Like, yeah, it was out of hand. And Kenny Bayless was an absolute embarrassment tonight to not not even a hard warning to Plant. I mean, there was moments in the fight, bro. I'm watching with my wife and my father who came to watch the fight with me. Plant literally was averaging like 3 to 4 holds per minute in a 3-minute round. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, this is awful, man. And no, we complained about that Hawker Mustang when Floyd did it to Manny. And I've been consistent with that ever since I've been on YouTube. I do not like guys that excessively hold all night long. It's awful to watch, man. But hey, man, thanks for the call, bro. It's always a pleasure talking to you. But hey, I'm gonna get a hold of you real soon, man, and talk to you about some stuff behind the scenes. Yeah, I appreciate the call as always, man. It's always great talking with you.
Oh yeah, man. It's always I always appreciate you, G Funky. It's always good talking to you, and man, keep rolling, bro.
That's right, man. Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it.
Take it easy.
All right, that was my man, the Boxing Historian 206. Great call, great channel as always. Make sure that you guys subscribe to his channel. Let's see, read some more comments here. Round one, I've coached baseball over 10 years and sat through 2 high school games with horrible umpires today, then watched a bad boxing decision and a horrible ref. What a day. Oh, man, that's rough. That's rough, but something has to be done about this excessive holding, man. And again, I'm gonna harp on this, man, until something fucking happens. Again, like the boxing historian said, and I've been saying this as well. Fighting out of the clinch, that's legal. That's fine. And again, if you got a hold of your opponent's hand or arm, and then the other hand's free, and you're working with the free hand, like I'm fine with that. That's perfectly within the rules. But when you intentionally reach out with both arms, grab your opponent's body to where he can't punch you, hold his head to where he can't punch you, that is illegal and should not be allowed anymore. And look, we've seen several times where, which fight was it recently? Oh, Figueroa and Mexayo. We saw that the referee wasn't playing that shit that night. Mexayo started holding a lot on the inside because you can't fight on the inside, right? It was obvious that he's not an inside fighter. So what did he do? Went to holding. And the referee around, I think it was round 3 or 4, said, you know what? Stop the holding. I'm going to take a point. He had no choice. Took a point from Mexayo, and guess what happened? Mexayo was not holding as much, and Figueroa went to work on his ass. And that's why the shit's got to end, man. We get another call, guys. Give me a second. All right, we got one of my favorite channels again calling in. Los Rechingones Cholo Trucker. What's going on, brother?
Oh man, I'm just trying to come down off this boxing high, man. There's just so much boxing at once.
It's, crazy, huh?
It was crazy. You know, a lot of times we complain about boxing and everything, but man, when nights happen like this, it's just a lot to take in. So just real quick, and I don't know who watched it or not, but I don't want to spoil it, but Antonio Morales fought tonight. He got dropped. He did not look good. He looked sloppy. He comes out with a win, which I truly believe I thought he lost, but hey, whatever, man. He did not look good at all, man.
Mm-hmm.
Senicia Estrada comes out with the victory. She did not look good either, but so be it. Ramirez Comey fight, I thought that was pretty good. Ramirez stops Comey in a pretty good fight, man. I really enjoyed that fight.
I haven't had a chance to see it yet, man. And you know, I knew that fight was going to be entertaining because of the styles. You know, obviously, people wanted to see the Pro Grace fight as well as me. You know, I think that's a fantastic fight. Didn't happen, but this fight again, I felt like it was going to be good. And one thing I want to talk about, you mentioned Senicia Estrada, and again, I haven't seen the card yet, but I want to ask you and you guys in the chat, was it not strange to see the commission make her strip down on the scale yesterday? I didn't think they were going to do that because she was a woman, man. That was a little like, whoa, like a wow moment for me, you know? Like
You know what I really liked? I really enjoyed the story before the fight. Before the fight, they went ahead and they showed an interview with her dad. You know how Kriegel does these backstories and all, and it was pretty cool, man. But no, that was all right. But I was just keeping like half an eye on it. I paid attention to it as much as I could when the time was right. But to get to the meat on the actual bone on this PBC Showtime card, wow, man. First of all, let me just go ahead and applaud PBC Showtime for putting on something that was actually worth paying for. Because a lot of these PBC pay-per-views have been complete trash.
Awful.
Straight garbage.
Yes. Yeah.
This was actually a card that was good all across, man, from the first fight to the last fight. While you were on, I went ahead, tapped out for just a second, and I saw the post-fight interview. Oh, I'm sorry, not the post-fight interview, the post press conference. And Chris Colbert, I got a chance to see Chris Colbert. They had him on there, and he basically just said just a few minutes ago that he's not going to give Rayo a rematch because Rayo is a sore. This is his words. because Rayo is a sore loser. Instead, he's going to go back down to 130, and he's going after the straps down there. So he said, again, these are his words. He said he would have gave Rayo a rematch, but because he wants to be a punk and a sore loser, he's not going to give him that rematch, and he's going back down to 130.
Oh,
wow. I saw the video that you dropped, and I agree, man. It's not the worst. I'm not even really sure if I really
robbery.
Wanna...
To say robbery, yeah. I don't.
Yeah. You know, you know me, dog. I don't throw that word around loosely, man. I think that word is overused. This one, yeah, I guess it was a robbery. Definitely, Rayo won. Absolutely, no doubt about it. But Colbert did have his moments.
Yep.
Definitely had his moments. Definitely won some rounds. And at one point, I think it was somewhere around the 7th round, I thought Colbert was probably gonna finish Rayo because he looked like he was gassed out.
Yep.
You know, so there were definitely moments where I was like, okay, Colbert, you know, he won this round, he won that round. Oh man, there was a time where I was kind of fearing for Rayo, where I was like, oh man, I think it's over for him. But if you count the first round, the 10-8 round, it went the entire fight. There's no way that you could score it for Colbert, man.
Yep. And the rounds that Rayo won, he won them big because he was hurting Colbert at least 3-4 times in 3-4 different rounds, you know. A bad decision there. And yeah, I agree with you. Rayo was looking like he was starting to fade a little bit later in the fight. And the funny thing was, like, when I'm watching, like, he didn't get too carried away, especially after he dropped him so early. So I'm like, okay, cool. I like that. Keep calm. Don't just go swinging away like you used to, because you might get clipped again, like you did against De Los Santos. So we kept it together pretty well. But then again, looking like he was starting to lose steam, and I'm like, man, like, that's not a good sign at all. But no way I could see Colbert winning this fight. At least not in my opinion, and I know in the majority of people's in their opinions as well. And yeah, I didn't hear him say that part where he says he's going to go back down to 130. But you know what? I think that's the right decision for Colbert, because he looked like the much smaller man in there tonight. He looked like an actual lightweight, as to where Rayo looked like he could have been maybe a middleweight tonight. He looked a lot bigger after rehydrating. So maybe that's the best thing for Colbert, to go back down to 130. Not the biggest lightweight, you know, but yeah, a little silly to say, wow, I'm not going to give him a rematch because he's a sore loser, you know. That's a little funny.
No, this was at the press conference. So it just happened a few minutes ago. You were actually live.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, well, let me check out what's going on. And that's when I heard him. I'm like, oh my goodness, man. But at the same time, I didn't really expect him to give Rayo a rematch. I mean, look, in all reality, I think this actually helps Colbert, because he wants to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to be the villain. And it does sell if you can do it right, and he wants to be the villain. But man, just what a great night of fights, man.
Yep.
My boy Joy Spencer gets his ass whooped.
Oh, yeah, that was rough.
Good stoppage. I thought it was a good stoppage by his corner. There was no way that Joy Spencer was going to get back into that fight. He showed heart, but he was just not going to get back into that fight, man. And just fast forwarding to the main event with Plant and Benavidez, man, I mean, a lot of heat coming down towards Kenny Bayless, man.
Awful, wasn't he?
Yeah. Okay. Plant. Now, my prediction going into the fight was that Plant was going to outbox Benavidez, and the judges were still going to give it to Benavidez. And as the first few rounds were going on, I'm like, okay, it's going the way I predicted. But eventually, man, look, Caleb Plant, he does not have pop in his punches, man. He does not have that power to keep somebody off of him, especially if it's somebody that can take some pretty good punches, especially if it's somebody big, as Mike Tyson likes to say, the Mexican monster. He does not have the pop. He does not have the power to his punches to back somebody up. He was always backing up. Caleb Plant was always backing up. He was never the aggressor. And I never really expected him to be the aggressor. But at the same time, man, Benavidez never really respected Caleb Plant's power. And that's why he just had to continually keep holding.
Yeah, man, that was bad. I mean, for me, I've been saying it for years, man. Like, I just can't stand it. Like, and that's one of the main reasons why I stopped watching UFC for so many years, because it's become too wrestler dominant, you know? And it's just not the most entertaining thing to watch, to see guys wrestling around on the ground. But when we're watching a sport where it's literally just hand-to-hand combat, like boxing, and the markers of Queensberry rules, like that's against the rules. You know, you can't reach out and just blatantly hold your opponent by the body or the head. That's called survival tactics. Like I remember showing some coaches some highlights of guys doing it, and they're like, well, what's going on here in this situation? Is the guy hurt or whatever? Like, no, the guy's just blatantly holding just to stop the action, you know? And and they're like, yeah, that should not be allowed. And it just spoils the fight, man. And I feel like Benavidez was about to finish Plant. I believe it was that 8th round. He was about to finish him, man. But again, Bayless, with his just an embarrassing performance by him tonight. And then again, in the same round, he goes and gets the doctor to come check the cut. And then immediately
that was weird.
Yeah.
That was weird, man. That was very weird. Yeah, if you want to watch wrestling, come check me out on Wrestling Rehab. Sorry, G Funky. Just a TPO plug, man.
That's right. No, that's fine, bro. That's fine.
But, so he's calling out Canelo now. And it seems like that's not where Canelo's going to go. I think he's going, we're all assuming that he get past John Ryder.
Yeah.
I truly believe Canelo's going to go after Bivol. Whether people like it or not, I think that's the route he's going. Whether he decides to come back into the ring in December, and maybe that fight can happen with Benavidez. If not, possibly next year. My thing is, the question that I'm asking, if Canelo, and if anybody wants to talk smack about Canelo, go right ahead. I'm talk all the time I say one. I'm not here to defend Canelo. But if Canelo already has his plan set on Ryder and then Bivol, my question is, does Benavidez just sit on his hands? Does he do anything, or does he just sit on his hands and just wait?
That's a good question too. Yeah. I hope not, because we're still early in the year. We're still in the first quarter of the year. So he's got plenty of time to get in there and fight again if Canelo does plan to go after Bivol in the fall. And he didn't take much damage tonight. So, I mean, obviously you damage your body in training camp, sparring, and all those sort of things.
Right.
But he looked fresh after the fight. I mean, he didn't look like he had too much facial damage. He looked like he could go out and party tonight if he wanted to. So, there's no excuse to not get back in the ring. at the end of the year. And look, I mean, I've been called a Canelo hater by a lot of people, and look, that's fine. I don't give a shit what these guys think about me anymore. But the thing is this: Canelo is the face of boxing. You know, he can call his own
Right.
shots at this point, and if he wants to fight Bivol in September, again, like you said, assuming he gets past Ryder, what can we do? He's the boss. There's nothing we can do about it. He's gonna pick who he wants to fight, and I think it's a bad decision because I don't think he's gonna beat Bivol, but that's his decision, and he's earned the right to do that. He's the guy that sells the tickets. He's the guy that brings the money. So it is what it is. I mean, we can complain all we want, but we're not gonna change what he's gonna do. I've been wanting the Benavidez fight now for at least 3 years, if not longer. So look, I'll be patiently waiting, just like I've been patiently waiting for this fight to happen for about 3 years. So
Right.
yeah, it could be maybe 2024. It might happen because we know he's still got one more fight on his matchroom deal. So unless they could work something out like Garcia and Tank and do a cross promotion thing, that would be fantastic, man. But that's a long shot, you know?
Well, okay. Again, I truly believe, and I have no inside sources or anything. So anybody who's watching, I got no inside sources. I'm just. This is just what I see. I do see Canelo beating John Ryder, and then I do see him going after Bivol. So again, assuming that does happen, what do we expect from Benavidez? Do we expect him to get in there with somebody or just get in there with a tomato can? Should he try to get a Demetrius Boo Andre, who's now on PBC?
Mm-hmm.
Or should he, I mean, that's kind of rolling the dice, you know, because if he loses, that Canelo fight is probably off.
Yeah.
So does he just sit on his hands? Does he just go up against a complete tomato can that's nobody's ever heard of? What is the expectation for Benavidez, assuming that Canelo goes ahead with the plan that Canelo himself has put out there already?
Right. Good. That's a good assessment of the situation, man. And I hope that he doesn't just sit on his hands and wait. Jamal Charlo, that is, was on the panel yesterday at the weigh-in. Says he's willing to fight Benavidez. Now, he said that before. And it's really up to him if he wants to vacate his belt at 160 and move up. He even talked about Andrade fighting him at 168 and Plant. Well, let's see him move up, and I would love to see that fight. I mean, he says, I'm going to come back in the summertime. So, again, plenty of time. If he comes back in the summer, these guys can fight at the end of 2023. And if Benavidez beats him, then, yeah, we have to see the Canelo fight from there. I think even the most hardcore Benavidez detractor would have to agree at that point to say, yeah, this is definitely the fight to make. I think it already is. But we'll see, man. And you're right. Canelo's already got his plans. And look, we can't do nothing about it. He's the guy, he's going to do what he's going to do. And he's earned that position, So, hey, man, I want to thank you for the call and plug your channel again, bro, because, I love you guys. I think you guys are great. You have a fantastic show. Let my audience know, man, where they could find you and when and the dates and all that good stuff, bro.
Yeah, man. Los Tres Chingones Boxing. We have a Spanish channel every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Friday, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. That's in English. And I like to go live just on my own here and there whenever I can. And if you guys are, wrestling fans, which a lot of grown men are, they just don't like to admit it. You guys catch me on Wrestling Rehab. It's WrestleMania week. Next week, I will be at WrestleMania, both night 1 and 2. And I'm not too proud to admit, man, because I'm a diehard fan ever since I was a kid. But G-Funky, man, you're one of the good ones out there, brother. You already know that, and you got my full support, guys, man.
Same for me, brother. And I appreciate your guys' support. And, hey, I had my tickets to WrestleMania too, bro, but unfortunately I couldn't make the trip. Had to sell my ticket. But yeah, man, I've been a wrestling fan just like you ever since I was a little kid, brother. So subscribe to my guys over there. All right. Hey, thanks for the call, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for the time.
Absolutely, man. That was my man Cholo Trucker from Los Tres Chingones Boxing here on YouTube. Guys, we got 15 more minutes until I wrap it up. Man, it is 11 p.m. I don't even know how I'm awake, man. I'm an old guy. It's hard for me to stay up, man, but I'm going to try to watch the Top Rank card before I go to bed. I'm probably going to fall asleep while it's on. Psycho Boxing Fan, brother, if you want to call in, the number's on the screen. 916-572-1020. Call in, give us your thoughts and your opinion on any of the fights tonight. Again, I only watched the PBC card today. I did not get a chance to see the Top Rank card or the DAZN card, the Golden Boy card with Jose Cepeda down there in Mexico. Whew, boy, I got a lot of shit to catch up on. But that's a good thing, man. Us boxing fans, we complain about not getting fights, but we're getting them. We're getting them, you know? And we just got to, appreciate when these promoters do their job and actually give us the fights. I know that they're not the most popular people when it comes to boxing, but when they give us what we want, we got to do our best and show support, man. And I feel like this fight card tonight, it was worth the money, guys. Now, traditionally, you guys know that I have always said that super fights are the only fights that belong on pay-per-view. Was this a super fight? No, it wasn't. But you know what? I paid the $70 for it, and I feel like I got my money's worth tonight because all of these fights were good, man. I mean, yeah, there was a bad decision in the Rayo fight, but I feel like that fight was entertaining to watch. The only fight that was one-sided was Ramos and Spencer. The other two fights, the Crowley and Abel Ramos, that was a good fight. Those dudes were fucking letting the hands go, landed a lot of punches. Really good fight. And of course, the main event, look, it could have been a lot better if Plant would have just took his beating like a man instead of doing all that fucking holding. And the referee allowed it. That's the worst part about it. But nonetheless, we got the fight. This is a fight that we desperately needed as hardcore fight fans because, again, there was so much bad blood. And I want to give a shout out to my man, 97 Rupp from Leave It in the Ring. He was on with me last night. We broke this thing down, and we pretty much broke it down to a T. We kind of said Plant was going to be getting off early, probably leading going into the second half of the fight, and then Benavidez was going to pick it up from there and break Plant down, which is pretty much exactly what happened. You know, that's pretty much exactly what happened. And yeah, good fights tonight, man. And like I said, I got to catch up on the rest of the fights tonight. So much to do, man. I'm probably gonna end up falling asleep trying to watch these fights tonight. Gonna have to probably watch the rest of them in the morning with my coffee. But hey, I love it, man. I'm excited to watch all these fights. It's gonna be another nice day. Shit, I might just go outside and watch them outside. I planned on watching the fights outside tonight. Did get a little cold and windy, so didn't want to be cold while I was watching the fights tonight. But nonetheless, man, a great night of fights, man, and we got a ton of them. And I look forward to seeing what they're going to do with Benavidez next because my man Cholo Trucker made a good point. Like, does Benavidez just wait? Does he just wait around for Canelo? Because, Canelo has said that, his goal is to fight Bivol, which I think is not a good decision because I just don't think he can beat him. Like, it's just it's a stylistic nightmare for him. But again, he's the guy that holds the cards. What can we do? If he's going to say that's the guy I want to fight in September, then that's what's going to happen most likely, and there's nothing we can do about it. We know Bivol has said that, he's not interested in fighting Canelo again because he wants to go after the belts, but I don't know how realistic that is for him at this point. It doesn't seem like Top Rank wants to do business with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom to make the Beterbiev and Bivol fight happen, which is a fantastic fight, man. We got the classic boxer against the pressure fighter in pressure power punching style of Beterbiev. I mean, good matchup. And again, all the belts on the line, but promoters, like I said earlier, they're not the most popular people amongst the boxing fans because they do this type of shit, an important fight like that should happen, man. And unfortunately, I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith that it's going to happen. You guys know that I'm a big fan of Undisputed because, you got to clear things up. There's so many belts. And again, this is the problem that I have with the sanctioning bodies. There's too many belts, number one, right? So if we can get a guy or two guys to clear things up and have one undisputed champion in the division, it just makes things a lot easier for the sport to grow, because it's too difficult to explain to other fans that don't watch the sport like we do that there's 4 different fucking world champions per division, you know? And it's just ridiculous, man. They got to go away. Too many. There's too many belts. Too many. And that's why I give credit to the guys that go after the belts, and collect them all. Now, whether they choose to stay in the division and defend those belts or drop them, it doesn't matter to me. They cleared things up, and that's all we could ask of these fighters. Champion to fight champion, best fighting the best in the division. It just doesn't happen enough. I mean, we've gotten a lot of them over the last couple of years, which is good, but there's more that are right there. There's more that could happen that are right there, right on the cusp of happening, and doesn't look like it's going to happen, unfortunately. But yeah, guys, look, I know I said I was going to stay for another 10 minutes or so, but I'm getting tired, man. So I think I'm going to wrap this one up. I want to give some love to the boxing historian 206 and my man Cholo Trucker from Los Tres Chingones Boxing. Great channel, guys. I want you to subscribe to both of those channels, guys. And because they're good, man. They're good channels. And they support my platform. I support their platform. And you guys know I don't run with no punks, man. I don't run with no fanboys, none of that shit, man. So support those guys. And I appreciate all your guys' support. I know it's late. A lot of you guys, it's much later for you, some of you guys, because you're in different parts of the country. It's almost midnight for me, and I'm on the West Coast. I know a lot of you guys are Central Time or Eastern Standard Time or whatever it is, daylight time now. So it's much later for you, but I appreciate all you guys for being here. This has been a good night of fights. And again, I feel like I got my money's worth tonight with the pay-per-view. So I'm going to go ahead and check out the top rank card and then work my way through the rest of them. Hopefully I get through all of them, man. And maybe we'll do another show tomorrow night. Open up the phone lines and we could talk about the rest of the fights tonight. But so that's it, guys. Post-fight calling show. They're going to wrap this thing up. Benavidez beats up Plant. Beats him down, man. Put a beating on him. I mean, the dude was so swollen. I mean, the sides of his head, the ears, his nose, underneath both his eyes. He took a beating tonight, man, at the hands of Bandera Roja Benavidez. So that's it, guys. Do what you feel and keep both feet on the wheel. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. All right. So until next time, guys, this is G Funky Boxing. I'm signing off, man. I'm out.